Hello there YouTube, and welcome to my very untidy workshop. It's not normally this bad. And my Honda CB250RS, which is an introduction to a series of videos that I may or may not make, hashtag probably won't. I thought I'd run you around the bike, as it is my new favourite thing with a petrol engine, or with any engine really. This was a bit of an impulse purchase from good old Facebook marketplace. We've all been there. It's late at night, you've had a beer or two, and something crops up that you think, do you know what, I fancy a bit of that. So it was being sold by a guy called Mikey from Scotland, and it had been found in a garage after 37 years of being put away by a fella that bought it brand new, one owner. He rode it around for a few years, and then he parked it up. You can see the tax disc there, in 1986, and it was discovered in August of this year, 2023. Mikey dragged it out and got it running again. The piston was seized in the bore, as well as obviously rotten tyres and things like that. So it's had a new piston, new cam chain, new tyres. And then he got it running again, and then stuck it on Facebook Marketplace. I knew it was in Scotland, but being a southerner from Kent, I thought, well, I've got a mate in the Lake District. I could pop up to his place, and then we could just scoot over the border, pick it up, and I'll ride it home. So the deal was done, and I then realised that actually Mikey lives near John O'Groats, and Cumbria is actually about halfway from Kent. So I did decide sensibly that that was probably a bit too far to ride it, as it was the best part of 750 miles from my house. So Mikey kindly, after bunging him a few quid, got a friend of his to transport it to the Lake District. I then rode up there a few weeks back, stayed over at my friend John's house, who bizarrely had one of these when we were 17-18 years old, so back in the 80s. So we spent the day fettling it, and then I rode it home via Worcestershire to another old friend's house, Simon, where I stayed the night. Now the ride wasn't without issue, as you can imagine. When I spoke to Mike, he said, "Oh, you'll enjoy running that in on the way home." And when I said, "What do you mean running it in? How many miles have you done since you rebuilt the engine?" And he said, "Well, what does the speedo say?" So I'd look at the speedo, and it said something like 2.1 miles. So you can imagine the first few miles in Cumbria were spent at quite slow speed, just running it in, bedding the motor a little bit. It did break down in Ormskirk in Lancashire, where the float valve in the carb stuck. Not unusual, and to be honest, I did take a lot of tools with me, expecting to have a few problems, and it did piss fuel out on the forecourt of a petrol station. So Ormskirk in Lancashire, there's me pulling it apart at the side of the forecourt. Numerous motorcycles came and went, not a single one said, "You need a hand, mate," anything like that. So bikers of Ormskirk, you can fuck off. But other than that, it was a pretty good ride home. Once I'd done a couple of 100 miles, picked the revs up a little bit, and followed all the A and B roads on my mapping, and it was a long old ride. I think it's about 430 miles in the end from door to door, but it rode really nicely. And since I've been back, which is what, 3 weeks now, I have now done, what have we done? What's that? 630 miles just coming up to, and I absolutely love it. Life at what, 50-60 mile an hour is the new thing for me. It is so enjoyable. Very little is needed doing on it. Original W edge plate, nice steel plate or alley plate. Everything is in lovely condition. It all needed a good scrub, because obviously it had been fairly dusty. The tank is a bit rusty on the outside, the inside's not too bad, so that's livable. The clocks are in absolutely lovely condition. So it's got an aftermarket master cylinder. No surprises, the original one was rotten, as you'd expect. Everything else cleaned up nicely. Mikey did a quick rebuild on the calipers, which I then did a little bit more when I got home. Fork legs I've just dusted with a bit of black, as I have the engine as well, because that was a bit rotten. But other than that, it is lovely. New fuel tap. That was pissing fuel by the time I got home. Again, no surprise at all. All the stuff that was dry after the 37 years, some decided that it would be fuel tight. Most of it didn't. Again, that's no surprise. It's got the original Honda FVQ shocks, which those of us of a certain age know stands for fade very quickly. I think you put a new chain sprocket on it, they look quite shiny and quite good. I'll put a power kit on it just to get a bit of power up, somewhere to chuck my phone while I'm out riding. But yeah, that's the story of the bike. So you may or may not, probably not, hashtag, no surprise, you may or may not see some videos on this bike, because I am planning on doing a few rides on it. In fact, myself, John and Simon, the two good friends that helped me with the collection of the bike and riding it home, next year, 2024, will be the 40th anniversary of us riding motorcycles on the road. And we do have a plan, probably won't happen, but we do have a plan that we are going to have a bit of a trip away on the 40th anniversary, potentially on 40-year-old motorcycles. Now at the moment I've got one, Simon's got an old LC tucked away in his garage, but that needs an awful lot of work, to be fair. And John has got a DR350 which is suitably slow as well, so that may be a plan. If that happens, I will do a video. Again, probably won't happen, but yeah, that's my 250RS. I haven't named it yet, I probably won't, but the wife said I should. But I love it, and again, the wife said you should do some of those YouTube videos because you're watching them all the bloody time. So let's see how it goes, see if anyone enjoys my ride outs, and yeah, life on a 250RS barn find bike. So thank you, YouTubers, see you soon.